Welcome to AU Malicious Compliance, where we tell stories of malicious compliance and revenge with an Australian slant. Please subscribe, like, and give us a thumbs up. Now strap yourself in for the ride of a lifetime. I live in Adelaide, South Australia, and when I was 19, my best friend, who we'll call John, got me a job working at a car wash with him. Honestly, this was the worst job I have ever had. I would not wish it on anybody. For context, John was a low-level criminal, and pretty much every worker there, including the asshole manager, who we'll call Tim, we're all in their past, small-time criminals as well. I want to say that all my co-workers, apart from their criminal histories, seemed like very nice people. All were just leaving their past behind. Working hard to stay on the straight and narrow, and legally provide for their families, and put their kids through school. Being that all the workers there had criminal convictions, and had little chance of getting any other work anywhere else, it subjected them to a hell of a lot of bullshit treatment, myself included, usually at Tim's hands. He was a piece of shit, the type of guy who thinks he's better than everyone, condescendingly dismisses things, plays innocent with customers if their cars get damaged. Tim would verbally abuse us whenever he felt like it. Not manager material. They did not pay us for every hour we were at work. Instead, we sat on a bench and only paid when a car came in and we actually worked on the car. Tim would have us sit on the bench and take a break whenever there were no cars. They kept a detailed log for the exact time you spent on your feet doing work, and would tally that up and make you sign for only your worked hours. You could be there for a full 8-hour day, but only get paid for 3 hours. I knew a bit about the labor laws. I knew this was not legal. I was going to go to the Department of Labor about it, but John begged me not to because he was worried that we would lose our jobs and not be able to find any other work. So I reluctantly, but understandably, did not pursue it. On top of that, I also didn't document my own hours, so I didn't feel like I would have a good chance of suing them. To replace the wages I should have been getting, at night would make sandwiches and sell them to the workers the next day. Tim eventually found out from one of the drug addict workers that we had. This dude was Tim's pet. If we found food in Q car, we would throw it in the rubbish. This dude would take it out of the rubbish bin and sometimes eat it. I wish I was making this up, but meth is a shit drug. Tim confronted me about my sandwich making, telling me I couldn't make and sell my sandwiches. What if someone gets sick from your sandwiches? I replied, I'm doing this to make up for the money that you should legally pay me. He had nothing really to say and quickly changed to a different subject. The general health conditions of this place of business were terrible, to say the least. With everything that I am about to tell you guys, that me selling sandwiches is the least of his concerns. They would have us use chemicals without supplying us with gloves, even if the chemicals container had warning labels to use gloves. At the end of the night, we would empty the rubbish bins into a skip, then coil up and store the vacuum hoses in the bins overnight, so all the hoses were covered in gunk 24/7. I never saw one piece of equipment cleaned after use, as they would not pay us to do so. It just got dirtier and dirtier day after day. On the first day of working there, it horrified me to see the state of the employees' bathroom. The toilet seat was missing, nothing to dry your hands with. No soap of any kind, and our lockers were inside this bathroom, too. In the beginning, I would use the customer's bathroom, which was kept at a reasonable level, until one day, Tim saw me coming out and asked me why I wasn't using the team member bathroom. He then told me I could no longer use the customer bathroom. When I complained about the condition of it, he actually responded that the team member bathroom lacked soap because the employees would steal it. He told me to just go into the room where the drums of automatic car wash detergent were kept and dip in my hands and clean my hands. I am still dumbfounded that this asshole could be a manager and think like that. I lasted a couple of months in this shothole, and I decided to quit. On the day I quit, I was supposed to start the early morning shift. I turned up in the afternoon, during peak hour, to make it more difficult for Tim. I walked in to see Tim doing my work on cars in my place. I grabbed his attention and handed him my uniform, telling him that I quit. He responded to me that he hoped I didn't hate him despite all that had happened. Seriously? How could I not? I still didn't feel 100% avenged, even after quitting. I decided that it was time to finally get even. Now, this is where revenge finally comes to play. A month after quitting, I was at a nearby mall and decided to go back to the car wash. I remember I had left a lock on my locker and wanted it back. I walked straight into the team member bathroom without being noticed and grabbed my lock. I pulled out my phone and took lots of pictures of conditions in the bathroom and then left without being seen. Thankfully, with the blessing of John, I called the Department of Labor and the Health Department and informed them of everything I possibly could about the health conditions there and offered the pictures to them. Both departments informed me they would send inspectors out to investigate. A few days later, John told me that an officer from the Department of Health showed up unannounced and inspected the whole site. Tim knew he was stuffed with all the violations they kept finding on the place. It was a citation goldmine for that health inspector. This ended up costing them tens of thousands of dollars in fines and repairs. Mind you, this is a small, independent business, so it hurt their bank account. Thankfully, none of the workers lost their jobs, but instead were given safer and healthier working conditions in the end. Tim was still the manager there for a few more years, but after so many one-star reviews on Yelp with plenty of them mentioning him, that piece of shit finally got canned. As for me, I went on to culinary school and get an excellent job with amazing benefits, pay, and time off. John did extremely well for himself, too, becoming a manager at a car dealership. We're still best friends after 17 years. Life is grand, and I take satisfaction in knowing Tim will never amount to anything beyond that 1/5 star rated car wash. Thank you for listening to AU Malicious Compliance. I hope you have subscribed, liked, and given us a thumbs up. Come back again soon for more stories.